Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all of our guests and our school board members. We welcome you. Our school board now is in session, and we're going to begin by inviting Mr. Isaiah Peoples up, along with his principal, Mr. Darrell Stanley.
Good evening, Chairman Gaskins, all board members, Georgetown County School District, Superintendent Price, and his cabinet. It is my pleasure to bring to you little Mr. Isaiah Peoples. Isaiah is the son of Mr. and Mrs. Marvin Peoples. He is currently in the 4th grade at Plantsville Elementary Digital Immersion School. Isaiah has been on the honor roll each 9 weeks. Isaiah has been Student of the Month on the academic team, in the cooking club, and a member of the school choir. Isaiah is a very respectful young man and demonstrates excellence in all areas. He always exceeds expectations and demonstrates a mastery of knowledge for grade level and above. Isaiah is responsible and goal-oriented. Isaiah's favorite thing to do outside of school is playing video games and any activity outside. His favorite food is pizza. His teacher says Isaiah is an all-around great kid, a teacher's dream. Little Isaiah Peoples in the pledge.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the moment of silence. You may be seated.
Thank you so much, Mr. Isaiah. We appreciate that. What a great job you did. Our next thing, very excited this evening, one of our spotlights this evening is from Andrews Elementary School, Girls on the Run. And I'm going to introduce Ms. Keebler to introduce this.
Chairman Gaskin, Superintendent Price, members of the board, district administration, and guests. Students' mental and emotional health continues to be a topic of conversation and focus. With this in mind, this month I am excited to spotlight a program from one of our schools that has this focus, Andrews Elementary's Girls on the Run program. Girls on the Run is an international program focused on inclusion, diversity, equity, and access for all. Founded in 1996, Girls on the Run recognizes the challenges and barriers many girls face. Participants worked with trained volunteer coaches who inspire them to build confidence through interactive lessons and physical activity. They learn to understand themselves, learn the value of relationships and teamwork, and begin to recognize how they can shape the world around them. Here to share more about Andrews Elementary's Girls on the Run program is the principal, Adrienne Watford.
Good evening, Chairman Gaskins, board members, Mr. Price, cabinet members, and guests. Thank you for the opportunity to share the wonderful Girls on the Run program we have been fortunate to have at Andrews Elementary School the past 7 years. Please enjoy this video about this wonderful program prepared for you by our awesome coaches and our own pandas.
Hello from Andrews Elementary School's Girls on the Run program. We started Girls on the Run in the spring of 2017. Lisa Birchmeyer was a first grade teacher here, and she introduced the program to us. And the next year, our very own physical education teacher at that time was Denitra Middleton, and she headed up starting our program, and it has just flourished since then. Our first season, we had 17 girls on our team, and we had 5 coaches. And there's been many coaches that have come and gone, but the 3 of us have been active since our first team in 2017.
My name is Lydia Moore. I was part of the first group of Girls on the Run kids in 2017. It's been a while. A highlight from my Girls on the Run experience was that my dad was one of the coaches. Girls on the Run really helped him be a better girl dad. He got to learn about how girls my age thought. And I got to share a hobby of his, which was running. I really think Girls on the Run is such an important program. It helped instill so much confidence in me at that age, and it helped show me that some of the things that I struggled with, other girls are struggling with too.
We've had a team since 2017, on and off, due to COVID and other things. We've had lots of girls, probably close to 100 or more that have participated. We have gone from being with the Myrtle Beach chapter to the Charleston chapter.
Girls on the Run is so much more than running. Yes, we promote healthy living through exercise, nutrition, and running or walking. However, it's more about developing friendships, learning about who we are, improving our self-esteem, learn how to handle adverse situations, and create lasting relationships. Girls on the Run is a powerful program where the girls can truly recognize their inner strength, increase their level of physical activity, and learn their possibilities, and confidently stand up for themselves and others.
One thing I liked about Girls on the Run a lot was that we got to meet a lot of people that we didn't know, and a lot of people that I had never talked to before, and I became friends with them.
I thought I couldn't do the 5K run because I have asthma, and it caused me to have shorter breath, but I still pushed through, and I got through Girls on the Run, and it was very, very fun, a very good experience.
I actually got to meet new people, and we became friends, and I actually still talk to them today. I remember we make desserts with one time we did this little type of rainbow with fruits in a cup and whipped cream, which was pretty fun and delicious too.
During the season, the girls set individual goals, and it is so great and rewarding to see them meet each goal. At the end of each season, we participate in a celebration 5K with other teams in the Coastal Carolina Girls on the Run organization.
Hi everyone, and last year I was a part of Girls on the Run, and it was super fun, especially when we did the 5K, and everyone was there. When I ran past that finish line, it was like, woo!
The girls worked so hard for 10 weeks to prepare, and it is such a joy to celebrate their accomplishment during the 5K. The girls love having their parents, friends, and community members come celebrate with us during the 5K.
One of the important missions of Girls on the Run is encouraging community service. Each season, the girls and coaches choose a community project. Some of the community projects we have done are campus cleanup, pack bags for Backpack Buddies, which is a local church mission for our school. We also created care bags for the Georgetown County Department of Social Services and shoe boxes for the Operation Christmas Child mission that provides shoe boxes to kids all around the world.
Girls on the Run was one of the best things I ever did because I got to socialize with other girls and learn about other things that other people like to do.
My favorite thing about Girls on the Run probably was when me and my teammates got to get together and all run around the car loop. And my second favorite thing is probably when we got to do the Energy Star Wars. My favorite one was the dead bug.
So about Girls on the Run, I like that people cheered me on and I cheered them on too.
Jeannie, Lisa, and I have been blessed to be able to continue this wonderful program for our students at Andrews Elementary School in 3rd through 5th grade. We look forward to promoting and encouraging involvement for more coaches and volunteers to continue with Girls on the Run in the future. Thank you for letting us share with you today. Girls on the Run is so much fun! Woo!
Yeah, she's a girl on the run.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What an awesome program. It's so exciting to have students participate and learn what's going on in our schools at our board meetings. Thank you so much. Moving forward, we go into public comments. Just a few reminders about public comments. Comments or requests should be brief and to the point and shall not exceed 3 minutes and must not mention specific names of students or personnel. We have 2 speakers this evening. Our first speaker is Mr. Neal.
Good evening. Good evening. To Mr. Price, Chairman Gaskins, and fellow board members. I'm Marvin Deal. I'm the third Vice President of South Carolina State Conference, NAACP. I'm here tonight to ask that I'm here tonight on a request from the Carvers Bay Magnet School, parents, teachers, and stakeholders. We are grateful for the new opportunities for our children as it relates to Magnet. The teachers and stakeholders are yet still optimists about the direction of Magnet School. We have great concerns as it relates to school budgets, transparency and expenditure and income. I think that financial transparency and stewardship is critical to the outcome of our children. Our children is our investment to the future of our community and America. We, the Carvers Bay family and stakeholders are requesting a meeting with the coordinator, staff, and other necessary persons to discuss our concerns. We are also requesting a line item entry, expenditure, and income as it relates to equipment and personnel. At the meeting, we are also requesting a contingency plan for the future of Carvers Bay and the feeder schools as it relates to Planosville, Browns Ferry, Pleasant Hill, Carvers Bay Middle, and Carvers Bay High. On Monday, I've had the pleasure, on another note, to speak with the State Department of Education as it relates to Mr. Larry Odom and the future of Carvers Bay High School.
Reminder, you may not mention
Okay, the principal of Carvers Bay High School.
Thanks.
Excuse me. As you know, from the last meeting, there's overwhelming support from the community and families for his return to the Carvers Bay family. He has been a tremendous asset and a servant leader, as he demonstrates so well. His record of success, it speaks volume to the success of our children and the future of our schools and communities. Changing anyone at this time could be devastating to our children as we continue on this journey of Magnet. We are very much appreciative of his service to our community, and I know that the school district is blessed to have made such a great choice as he continues to serve Carvers Bay High School. We're requesting that he return in that capacity of principal of Carvers Bay High School. Thank you for your time and service.
Thank you, Mr. Neal. Our next speaker is Ms. Cooper.
Good evening, board members. I want to thank you all for coming out to the various different schools and listening to our concerns for future principals. I was able to go to all 3 of those meetings, and I learned at one of those meetings that we had hired someone under the Magnet program for the position of a STEAM coordinator, and that was a new position that wasn't necessarily covered under the original grant. And I was told that this person had such a spectacular resume that no one in our school district had the credentials that this person had to fill this prestigious position within the Magnet program. My reply to that was, that's sad, because we have science and math teachers who have high credentials. They've been an asset to our school district. They've taught our babies. They've gotten our babies through. And I know that there are continuing education teachers who continue to get new credentials annually. So my next question was, if you knew that no one in our school district had the credentials to meet this prestigious position, then why didn't you prepare them for that? Why didn't you make sure that our teachers who have been sustained, which was a part of the grant as well, sustainability, and they have been sustaining our school district for so many years, why didn't you prepare those sustaining teachers to be able to apply for that position and accept that role? And I got no answer for that. I just want to say, board members, our district has the potential to be great. We have great teachers. They're awesome. And they're our biggest advertisement for more teachers to come into this district. We have to make sure that these types of positions are offered to them that they're prepared for them, and that they lead them, because they will sustain those positions long after new hires from different areas and different communities come here and build their resume to move on to other districts. These teachers have been here and they have sustained us, and it's vital that we consider them for these leadership positions. And it's vital that you make sure that no one comes into our school district to build their resume and then leave our children with a deficit that we have to fill with the teachers who were sitting back in the shadows waiting on that opportunity all along. I ask that you all please consider that in the future and make sure that you remember our teachers, not our students, not even you, are our biggest advertisement. Let's make sure they're proud to be here.
Thank you, Ms. Cooper. Next item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes. Each of you have received the minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
It's been moved.
Second.
It's been second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Our minutes have been approved. We have the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as is?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The agenda has been adopted. Our first item, information item, is our iReady winter results. Dr. Barano, welcome.
Good evening, Chairman Gaskin, Superintendent Price, and other members. I'm here this evening to report out to you on our iReady winter data. We will be looking at fall to winter progress on the following slides. The data that I will present tonight is reflective of the new linking study Curriculum Associates has recently released, which shows iReady outcomes are closely aligned to SC Ready outcomes, therefore providing us with a more accurate projection of our spring SC Ready performance. The following slides will provide you with the projections as it relates to SC Ready, as well as the academic achievement and student progress report categories of the state report card. For the level students are estimated to achieve as if the students took SC Ready test on the same day as they took their iReady winter diagnostic test. The current slide provides you a visual representation of our overall fall to winter growth as it relates to SC Ready proficiency, with proficiency being those students who meet or exceed expectation. As you can see from the slide, we have currently moved from 35% proficient in fall to 45% proficient in reading. The line graph provides you with fall on the bottom and winter on the top, with a corresponding number of students and percentages for each level. The green dissecting line separates proficient from not proficient, or at or above grade level from below grade level. Please note the leftward movement of students in the bottom section from 37% in fall to 26% in the winter. This movement denotes positive movement from 3 or more grade levels below towards on grade level, with a large number of students moving into the proficient and above levels. The hyperlink on your presentation provides you with a numerical chart format of this same information. As we move from the district overall outlook to individual schools, the following graph reflects performance, also known as achievement, and growth, which would be progress, for each school. The pink line is at the 60th percentile and indicates our district's iReady spring goal that by the spring, all students will be performing at the 60th percentile or higher. It is important to note that we have 3 schools at or above our spring goal already, and 1 school at the 50th percentile. As you look at this map, please note the top right is high performance, high growth. The bottom right is high performance, low growth. The top left is low performance, high growth, and the bottom left is low performance, low growth. Whereas performance reference academic achievement and growth reference student progress, so that you'll have a relationship between what you see before you and the state report card. The next slide provides you with fall to winter growth for math iReady. This provides you the visual representation of overall fall to winter growth. Again, as it relates to SC Ready proficiency, with proficiency being those students who meet or exceed expectations. Currently, we have moved from 16% proficient to 32% proficient in math. That's double our numbers from fall administration. Again, the line graph provides you with fall on the bottom and winter on the top, with the green line dissecting and separating proficient from non-proficient, or at or above grade level from below grade level. Again, please note the leftward movement of students in the bottom section from 47% in fall to 31% in winter. Please also note that 37% held the same in the middle of these graphs. This denotes that our positive movement was from 3 or more grade levels below to on grade level, moving a large number of our students into the proficient and above from not met or below grade level. Again, the hyperlink provides you with a numerical chart of this data as well. The next slide moves from a district outlook to individual school outlook for math. Again, this chart provides you with performance or achievement and growth or progress for each of our schools. Just as a reminder, the pink line shows you the 60th percentile, which indicates our iReady spring goal. For math, we have 3 schools that's right at our spring goal of the 60th percentile, and we have 1 school that's almost but not quite at the 50th percentile already for winter administration. Again, this graph reflects where we currently are as if students had taken SC Ready at the time of taking the iReady diagnostic. In summarization, overall, our district is performing now for winter where our students performed on spring 2023 SC Ready, as projected by the winter iReady administration. If growth and performance continues with this upward trend, we are projected to exceed our 23 academic achievement and student progress categories as it relates to the state report card. Please also be reminded that iReady reading showed an improvement of 10%, whereas math showed an improvement of 16%, which doubled the percent of students proficient or above. We have schools that are currently performing at or above our spring goal for both iReady Math and iReady Reading, and our students are growing. We had 9 schools with high growth. However, we are not quite performing at the necessary academic achievement level as of this I-Ready administration. So we are progressing and we are moving. However, as of winter, we're not exactly where we should be, which is typical because we're mid-year and not at our spring. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is principal's budget request. We're going to start with Mr. Stanley, followed by Mr. Hillman, then followed by Mr. Hamel. Mr. Stanley.
Greetings again, Chairman Gaskins, board members, distinguished board members, Georgetown County School District, Mr. Price. It is my pleasure to bring to you the consensus request and individual school requests for the upcoming school year for elementary school budget. I represent me and my colleagues that are here, along with Mr. Coyne, so if you have any questions, they will be able to help me also. Our first consensus request is the interventionist. An interventionist would continue to play a critical role in closing the student achievement gaps. An interventionist will continue to provide intensive instruction for all students with major reading and math deficits. The interventionist would continue to close any foundational gaps a student may have with early learning, reading, and math skills through targeted instruction and progress monitoring. Also, there's a hyperlink for data that supports our requests. Our next consensus request is to add 5 additional days to our reading coach to the contract to accommodate for remediation days, professional development, and planning and preparing for the upcoming school year. We have some individual school requests. Our first individual school request is Kensington Elementary, requesting RBH counselor and a math interventionist. Browns Ferry Elementary, assistant principal and clerical assistant. Walkmore Intermediate, RBH counselor. Sanford Elementary, interventionist, assistant principal. Walkmore Elementary, RBH counselor, special area teacher, and full-time school psychologist. That concludes the elementary portion of the principal budget requests.
Are there
have any
questions for Mr. Stanley? Thank you, Mr. Stanley.
Thank you.
Mr. Hillman.
Good evening, Chairman Gaskins, Mr. Price, board members, Dr. Giles, Dr. Tutt, cabinet members, and distinguished guests. Thank you for the opportunity for us to present our budget, the middle school budget this evening, and we also want to thank you for everything that you do for all of our schools in the district. The middle schools have 4 total requests, 2 consensus requests, and 2 individual requests. The first consensus request is for us to maintain our interventionists. As we know, based on the data that is presented to you, the importance of the interventionist, you can see here the growth of all of our students who have been taking part in our intervention class. The growth of our students compared to all students who have taken our intervention classes at this time. What we don't see beyond the data is how this has helped these students' self-esteem who were not performing at grade level or who were showing deficits in skills. For example, just at Georgetown Middle School alone, the 22 students who received intervention all performed at grade level on their past I-Ready diagnostic. The next request is for a Spanish elective teacher for all the middle schools. There are currently 21 Spanish-speaking countries, which means there's 400 million people who speak the Spanish language. The United States alone since 2000 has an 80% growth in our Hispanic population. We want to be at the forefront in the middle schools of providing foreign languages to our students. This will help also our students build relationships with their MLL peers, and also to show empathy towards those peers as well. Our next request is an individual request from Waccamaw Middle. Waccamaw Middle is asking for a strength and conditioning coach. Waccamaw Middle is the only middle school currently that does not have a high school that is adjacent to their school. The other 3 schools, we share the strength and conditioning coach after school. This would be an after-school stipend for Waccamaw Middle. With multiple sports that are going on, the quick transitions between sports, we are seeing an increase in injuries. The 3 other schools have the opportunity to transition over to the high schools afterwards. Waccamaw Middle, they would need transportation. What they're asking for is a strength and conditioning coach to help with their athletics and to also prevent injuries. And then the last request comes from Carvers Bay Middle STEAM Academy. They are asking for an in-school suspension specialist. In-school suspension has been a blessing for many middle schools. It has cut down on students being out of school. It has allowed them to get their instruction instead of being at home unattended. It has also shown positivity with their social and emotional learning, as they are not only they are not only receiving the academics they are missing, but they are also receiving guidance on how to improve upon the behavior that they may be lacking in. These are the requests for the middle schools. We thank you so very much. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Do we currently have any middle schools that are teaching Spanish as an elective, or none of our middle schools are?
Georgetown Middle School is currently the only school that offers a Spanish elective. It is not a high school credited class, though. What it is, it's more of a world cultures, but the focus is on Spanish content.
And one other question, are our high schools also offering Spanish as an elective already? Are all our high schools offering Spanish?
Yeah.
They are? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Hamill?
The interventionist at middle school.
Yes, ma'am.
Kind of share with me which areas that we are targeting and how those students are selected to be receiving intervention.
Okay, so I'm going to speak on behalf of just Georgetown Middle School and how we do it. So at Georgetown Middle School, we have a phenomenal interventionist named Ms. Robinson Scott. She receives the data from, say, last fall's iReady. So we have kids that are in the red, whether they're 2 or 3 grade levels below. What she'll do is she'll gather that information, and she then goes and she will pull those students out during an elective. They're not missing any core classes. During that time, these same set of students are working together. They're all focusing on the same skill levels. Now you ask what content? Well, she does ELA. Well, 30 minutes into that lesson, we also have a math enrichment teacher named Mr. Oliver. After 30 minutes, they go ahead and switch students. So because most of the students that have deficits in ELA are also our same students that have deficits in mathematics. So just by those numbers alone, if you look at our numbers, you'll see that there was over 150% increase among those 27 students that those 2 individuals shared.
So all of our schools, though, if they're not receiving Title I funds, help me understand, everybody isn't privileged to have both a math and a reading interventionist.
Well, see, our Mr. Oliver is an elective that actually was math enrichment at one time. He is not paid out of an interventionist ESSER budget. He is paid actually through our Title I funds.
Right.
So that position has been there since the 8 years that I've been at Georgetown Middle School.
Right.
So we're just utilizing him differently than the way we used him in the past, because we have so many students that have deficits that one interventionist could not handle all the students that were 2 to 3 grade levels behind.
but that is not the norm in all schools.
That's correct. Any middle school who receives Title I funds has the ability to create a site-specific Title I plan. And Mr. Hillman and his staff have chosen to use part of their funding to secure a math interventionist. With our ESSER funds, we provided an extra interventionist at every elementary, middle, and high school. And because there was a stipulation that was put on that we didn't have to worry about supplementing or supplanting Title I funds, it didn't prevent us from providing that to schools who didn't receive Title I funds. So he has two, one paid out of Title I, one paid out of ESSER. I'm not sure about the others, but not all of our middle schools receive Title I funds.
Right.
So they only have one. And so the request for all of them is to be able to retain the one that's currently being paid out of ESSER, and they're asking for it to be worked into the general operating budget.
But it's just the one position
One.
for each middle school.
Yeah, correct.
But they can then use their monies to understand. I'm just concerned with where we see our needs, that we look at exactly where we provide as we look forward to the budget, because I think we're going to have to make real hard decisions. And I think that we need to really look at where our needs really lie in our schools. But I appreciate that, Mr. Hillman.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Hillman. Mr. Hamel.
Good evening, Chairman Gaskins, members of the board, Mr. Price, district staff, and guests. I have the privilege tonight to present our 24-25 budget request for our high schools and our high school principals. We'd like to begin by thanking the board for their continued support of our secondary schools and programs, and share with you that it's our high schools' desires to see our schools continue to grow, excel, and positively impact all of our students. We'll begin tonight. I'd like to share with you two consensus requests from our high schools. You'll see the first one on the screen. Our first request is for our high schools to be able to keep our college and career readiness coaches that are currently funded by ESSER funds. As you'll see on the slide there, this position directly impacts approximately 40% of our high school report card. Depending on the high school involved and the various subgroups, it can indirectly impact an even higher percentage. This position also has allowed our students to have many more diverse opportunities and experiences, including additional work-based options, military connections, college visits, and community partnerships. Losing this position would definitely have a negative impact on student opportunities, programs, and overall achievement. Finally, the support that this position is providing with student data tracking is vital. Beginning with next year's report card, individual students will begin being scored upon a set of criteria related to their on-grade level performance and readiness. And this position greatly enhances our school's ability to track and proactively address student concerns and issues in this area to keep our students on track for graduation, college, or career field, and the military. Moving to our second consensus request, and this is for a stipend to be created for our high school bookkeepers due to the amount of additional paperwork related to our high school athletic coaching stipends. Without a doubt, the work our administration and school board did over the last 2 years to update and address our coaching stipends has been overwhelmingly positive. A big thank you for that, I will tell you, from our schools. An unintended result, however, is the significant amount of additional work that our high school bookkeepers have picked up with the new system. And I'll use Waccamaw High as an example. We currently have 39 total athletic teams when you count our JV and B team programs, with over 60 total paid coaches. The additional work related to our new system has added more duties on our high school bookkeepers, and we request a small stipend to compensate them for these additional responsibilities. And you notice there's not an amount up there. That would be at the pleasure of the board and our district administration. That would be a very small amount, just recognizing that they're doing a significant amount more work related to it. Moving to our individual high school requests, you'll see them on the screen in front of you there. We'll move first. The first request comes from Waccamaw High School, and it is a request for an Army JROTC National Defense Cadet Corps program. Adding this program at Waccamaw High School will provide our students with numerous opportunities and experiences that are currently missing in our curriculum at this time. The positive correlation between JROTC programs and student growth in leadership, citizenship, personal accountability, and physical fitness is well documented and clearly evident in other JROTC programs around our district, as witnessed by the presentation this board received earlier this year. The addition of this program will also provide our students with more opportunities for scholarships, internships, and mentoring possibilities, while at the same time positively enhancing our overall school climate, culture, and discipline. Furthermore, adding this JROTC program at Waccamaw High would provide our students with an additional career pathway option and the option to gain employment skills and become career ready. And I think finally, and just as importantly, adding this program to Waccamaw High School will provide our students with an equitable option that's been provided at the other high schools but missing at WHS for more than 2 decades. I have members of my students, my faculty, my staff, my community here tonight in support of this, and I will tell you that there's strong support in my community for this program, and if it is added, I feel confident that it will be a program that will make our school district and community proud.
Mr. Hamill, may I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Explain the cost share model.
The cost share model would only cost $180,000, but we would fall into a pack right now, according to Blaine Stewart from the Army base at Fort Knox. We would currently score about 220th out of 270. They add about 10 to 15 schools per year. So as I shared with our district, optimistically, I'd be in a rest home by the time we had the opportunity to get that program at Waccamaw High School. I'm just being real with you. He told us it'd be about 20 years. The National Defense Cadet Corps program, if we could fund it via ESSER funds, or the one-time funds, there's only 47 of those programs currently, and they add 10 to 15 a year into the cost share. So being very conservatively, it would cost us $180,000 after that first year, but within 2 years we could go down to the $93,000 model. And if we scored high enough or a program in the Southeast folded, we would have first opportunity to move into that model. Basically, this gets us in the front door and gives us a reasonable chance to actually have a program.
Thank you.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
How does the National Defense Cadet Corps program differ from, say, Army or Navy ROTC?
It's an Army ROTC program. The title basically implies that the district will fund the entire amount of it to get it started, and it moves us to the front of the line. When I spoke to them back in the fall and again about 3 weeks ago, the gentleman stated to me that if we had the funding, I said, how soon could we start? He said the next day. He said he'd have someone down to look at our facility, and we've secured 3 rooms right now. A storage room, 2 offices, and 2 of our classrooms. We're ready to move people around as needed. We have the space. They would come down, approve the space, and we'd be on go.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other questions? Moving to Carvers Bay High School's early college and career high school request. Their first request is for a 1/2 counselor allocation. This is being requested to help handle the additional duties that are related to the Magnet School Initiative. You'll see there in front of you, dual enrollment responsibilities, serving as an intermediary with HGTC professors, and overall records management and course requests relating to the Magnet program and the Abbott Initiative. Their next request is for an additional custodian. You can see there their current custodial staff, 1 for day shift, 3 for afternoon, and Mr. Odom and his staff have made that request due to the size of the facility and the difficulty with the number of activities and the turnaround time keeping that building clean. And Mr. Odom's final request is to move his agricultural science teacher from a 220-day position to a 240-day position. He's made that request in response to what he has stated to us is losing his teachers to more 240-day options and programs in neighboring districts around. And the final request, I received word about 30 minutes ago that this will not be a cost item that would be added to the budget, that in coordination with Tidelands Health, they've agreed to help pick up the funding for that. So you'll see the many benefits of that program, and it's an excellent program, providing sports medicine options for our students. And it would be one that if Tidelands would pick up around the district, I feel confident the other high schools would take advantage of as well. But Tidelands has agreed to do that, so that's all around positive. Any questions for me regarding any of the high school requests? Ms.
I
Ford?
have a question about the Carvers Bay additional custodian.
Mr. Odom? Yes, ma'am.
I
I
just
may be
want-
able to answer it, but he's here just in case.
Now, I wanted to know what is the comparison? What are the other high schools? How many custodians do the other high schools have, day versus afternoon?
Good evening, everyone. I don't have those specific numbers right in front of you, but I can say that when we looked at the formula, that Carvers Bay was in need of a custodian, and we have added that position.
Oh, it's added already?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Well, great.
There's number
Well,
two.
good.
There you go. There you go.
Save us some money.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hammond, I got a question. Can we go back to the high school bookkeeper athletic stipend?
Yes, sir.
So based on the different policies we changed and increases in days, can you just give me a short version of what the additional duties are that they have to do in order for us to recognize this additional stipend?
Yes, sir. They are calculating what they are doing each for us right now. Our athletic directors are working with them to get, for instance, Waccamaw 64 coaches. Every one of them has a different level of experience, and they get that paperwork from other districts around. Then they have to go and calculate those coaches' salaries. It's a good thing for coaches, but if I'm getting a $2,000 stipend and I get for every 4 years experience, I get a 10% raise. Well, they're also figuring up 12 years experience, there's a $300 raise here. There's a 5% bonus here. There's a $250 bonus for a region championship there. And I will tell you that while that may be an athletic director duty, when it comes to money and calculating, our bookkeepers are going behind checking every stipend, because it may say the stipend is $4,500, but when you're giving them based on 5 days, my day's salary may be $321.89. Well, I've got to calculate those 5 days, put it on the form, and make sure it's correct. And as I'm sure you would know from your time in business, if we short somebody $100 or $200, they're not going to be happy. So making sure that money's right for each coach, and putting it on our forms, and then so you do that at the beginning, then you get to the playoffs, we're going to do it again. Gotcha. So it's just, that is added, and they take in a considerable amount of money. I'm nothing against my middle school, elementary school colleagues, but the high schools take in much more money every day they're dealing with.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank
Thanks to all of our principals that presented. We appreciate that. The next up is Ms. Thompson, Policy BDDH, Public Participation in Board Meetings. Please don't leave. Sorry, Ms. Thompson.
I
They're
mean, my
leaving.
self-esteem is taking a hit. Wow, okay.
Apparently she can clear a room, huh?
I know.
Okay, then.
I'm going to buy a round for everybody that stayed. All right. Good evening, Chairman Gaskins, members of the board, Mr. Price. The first policy that we have tonight is one that you all had requested that we come back and look at more carefully, and it's Policy BDDH, Public Participation in Board Meetings. And what we had discussed at the last meeting was that we wanted a little bit more information about specifically the public comment section. And so I've added 3 sentences here, and you can of course, choose all three, two of the three, one of the three, none of the three. They kind of all stand alone among each other. But in the middle of the page, you'll see where, well, currently, we already have that speakers are limited, each person is limited to 3 minutes per person unless granted special permission from the chairman. Then we talked about potentially limiting the entire time frame, and I believe that we talked about the possibility of limiting the entire time frame to 30 minutes. So that's the first option, or first sentence there. The next one is something that you may or may not be in favor of, and it's certainly not a requirement, but it says speakers wishing to make similar comments to one another are encouraged to appoint one spokesperson to convey the group's message. Just as a reminder to folks that if you're all saying the same thing, it's just as effective to have one person. I mean, we encourage you to have one person so that you're not, perhaps if we ran up against that 30-minute period at some point. But again, just a choice there. And then the last one is something that Mr. Walters shared with me that the State Board of Education includes in their public comment procedures. And they say that all of their public comment procedures may be temporarily waived by a 2/3 majority vote of the members present that evening. So if there were a particular topic that you all believed, if there were a lot of people and it seemed like you wanted more than 30 minutes allotted to that, or if you wanted to waive the 3-minute requirement per person, something like that, then you could do that at an individual meeting based on that 2/3 majority of the board members present at any given meeting. So that's how the state board works theirs. I think it's a good idea, at least an option to throw at y'all for this evening and let y'all kind of mull it over and share any thoughts or questions that you might have with me.
Go ahead, Patty.
I had a question about where we talked about appointing somebody so that they talked to one another. They're actually talking to the board, right?
Right.
So I don't think we need that particular to one another. I think that could be perceived as we're sharing in the audience instead of
So eliminating to one another.
to one another.
Okay.
That would be my.
Sure.
Anybody else?
I'm kind of waffling on that entire sentence. I recognize the value of having, a particular spokesperson, but then if you're a person, you're coming to talk about an issue at a board meeting, you might not know the other speakers. And so, you might come toward I don't know, you just might not know the other speakers, and so you have something on your mind and you want to share it. So I don't know that I'm in favor of giving up my right to speak.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would be okay eliminating that sentence.
Eliminating that whole option there. Okay.
Any other thoughts? Mr. Moore? Yep. Mr. Cox?
I'm good with what she just said. A lot of speakers that come here are not here with a group. Some are, but we don't know that. When people sign up, we don't know if they came in here or they talked the day before and said we're going to. So yeah, I'm with everybody else. I think we need to eliminate that.
Yeah. Okay. Because we can't police that.
You can't police that. You just won't know.
I guess my only question is when they fill out a card and they share them with the chairperson, if they all have the same concern, and we have somebody with another concern, and our 30-minute time went away, we might not ever hear every concern.
Every concern.
So I'm kind of waffling about the fact that I guess we could waive the 30 minutes if the chairperson knows that there is more than one concern. And I think we ought to leave an option for that, because I certainly don't think any people ought to come to the board as they're our constituency and not have a chance to share a concern with us.
Absolutely.
I think we'd be remiss if we didn't. Yet at the same time, I understand.
Yeah, the language that's in there is the word encourage.
Encouraged, right.
Right.
Because we can't police it.
No.
We can encourage them.
Right, but I think everybody's concern, if there's more than one concern, ought to get to be heard on the night they bring it to the board. And I think that our chairperson ought to have
The flexibility.
the flexibility, that's a good word, the flexibility to extend that 30 minutes so that every concern came to the board.
So then, would you want to, for that third sentence, rather than giving the authority to waive those requirements, giving that to a 2/3 majority of the members present, would you want to just place that authority in the chairperson to say the chairperson may choose to extend public comment?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think that way, because when they fill out a card, they're going to tell you what they're going to speak about.
Right.
As a concern. That would be on that card, and I think that every concern is important to us.
Okay.
I may have some concern about that suggestion, simply because if I'm coming here to fuss about the chairman and he has the authority alone to say, hey, look, we're going to cut it off here or we're going to extend it, I think I'm more comfortable with the 2/3 vote versus just having one person make that decision on his own.
But you're not supposed to fuss at one person.
That's right. But all of you would not know what the topics are. And sometimes we get cards and there's not a topic on there.
Right.
Should that be required in order for them to speak? I don't know.
Yes.
I thought it was required.
Is it required in our present policy?
Our policy doesn't specifically state that they must fully complete the comment card, no. But now's a good time to add that, if that's.
Because I really think the topic needs to be there.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't have a problem with the encourage to appoint one spokesperson. Because you are still giving people an option. So if 4 of us go and we are all, we want to talk about topic A and we're just talking before the meeting, we can say, well, hey, why don't you speak, and then we'll just be there, we can stand behind you and support you. So I don't know if we need to limit that altogether. Again, just my opinion, but I think that it also gives people, because people might not know. If I'm coming, but I'm going to say the same thing she is, I don't want to get up there and say the same thing, but if I know that I can combine what we're saying, that gives me another option, and I'm still being heard, and I'm still standing here in support of what's being said, but I don't need to repeat the same thing.
But if that, I get what you're saying, because if it's put in there, if the public knows that.
Right.
But I can't, but the chairman can't police that.
No, you can't. That's what I'm saying, but it's not being policed, it's just saying, hey, we're encouraging you to do this, you don't have to do that, but if you have that, if you're thinking about it, because I think if it's not in there at all, then somebody's going to say, well, I filled out the card, so I have to say what I'm going to say just because, I wrote it,
Yeah, can I make another comment? So, here's the deal. If we show up and the chairman gets the cards, if there's 10 cards at 3 minutes a person, 30 minutes is it. I've never really been a big fan of the 30 minutes because that's 10 people, correct? At 3 minutes. If 12 people show up, 2 of those are going to be told you can't speak. I've never really been a fan of the 30 minutes. And since I've been on the board only a year, I don't know that there's actually been more than 10 people speaking. So I really don't even like the 30 minutes, to be honest with you. I think we're giving up the right for people to come and voice their opinion as a citizen of this county about a topic, whether it's 10 people, 5 or 20. And I know it can get overwhelming when people talk about the same thing over and over. But I just feel like we're giving up people's rights to be able to speak.
All right. I'm a proponent of the 30 minutes, just because I go back to my example of my first night on the board, hour and a half of public comments, and we heard the same thing over and over and over. I don't, and it has not been a problem since then.
Right.
My thinking is you're setting a policy for future boards, with the chairman having the flexibility to extend that if needed.
And seeing that's the case. So if you had 10 people or 12 people and they get 30 minutes, not everybody speaks 3 minutes.
Right.
So there's
Right.
that, but you can also say, Chairman, hey, it's 30 minutes but we're going to allow these last two people to speak. I mean, that's your flexibility, right?
Does, in the language, can your thoughts about if there are more than 15 people who want to speak, can you limit their speaking to 2 minutes? Can the chair make that decision?
I've seen that at other.
I've seen that at others.
And I think that the sentence, the public comment procedures, not just.
No more than 3 minutes. That's how I'm reading
Right,
that.
so it could be the 3-minute procedure piece, it could be the 30-minute total piece. I mean, it could be either one of those elements that you're choosing to waive for that evening.
Right.
Whether you all want to do that as a vote of the board or as the chairperson's prerogative, but I think it would include both of those things.
So on the 2/3, at what point, if we went with the 2/3, would we take a vote? I mean, where are we going to squeeze that in at? I mean,
That cuts into your 30 minutes, right? That's what you're worried about.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. We're worried about 30 minutes, and now we're going to take a vote.
That would have to be voted on
I would think that as the cards come in, once the meeting begins, then the card submission is stopped once the meeting begins. If you have more than 10, then perhaps the chair at that time could bring it to the board's attention that we have more than 10 speakers. If we give everyone 3 minutes, it would take this much time. Is there a motion to extend the time? Or I'm going to, depending on if we stick with 2/3 or if you stick with the discretion of the chair, at that point, I would think that it would need to be a standard practice to announce that we have more comment cards than 30 minutes would allow. And you either make the 2/3 motion at that point, or the chair make the decision of how to amend or waive the.
I just like the idea of trusting my chairman to make a rational call.
That's scary. But I don't think you can be anal about it. If you have, because if you did have 3 minutes, you're going to go over 3 minutes because the pause time in between.
That's right. That's right.
So.
And I think when you announce the 3 minutes per speaker, that would be a time to say, and we encourage if you do know that several of you are going to speak about the same topic, we certainly want to recognize you. But if you have a spokesperson, then that would be, I would think that could be an added sentence in that beginning 3 minutes.
Yes.
And that way you'd offer people an opportunity. We just say we encourage it. We're not going to go out there and say you're not going to speak, because that's not who we are.
No, that is not who we are.
But that's what I would think that we'd add something in there to kind of help us with that.
Yeah, if you start telling people that have showed up on a subject that they can't speak, we're going to have some upset people, especially when we pick and choose who we're going to allow to speak.
Right. And
I think we're going to have a problem there.
Can't do that.
Right.
And
So we gave you lots of ideas.
But when we're at our South Carolina School Board Association, ask some other board members about this.
I think we took your 3 questions out and put it back in.
Well, do you, I'm just trying to think out how we want to proceed. You just mentioned maybe at the convention, talking with other board members and seeing how things are working for them. Do we want to kind of wait on this policy, let it sit? Do you want to move forward with making some revisions and then revise again later? Mr. Price?
If I may make a suggestion, if it pleases the board, we've had different types of opinions that have been shared, and I think all of them have merit and value. There's maybe not one perfect motion that everyone is unanimously agreed upon. I would recommend that at our next meeting that we bring this back. We can continue to leave it as an information item.
Yes.
Or we could have several different versions of the policy based on your input, and then you could take first reading approval on one of them. Someone may make a motion to adopt one specifically, and it passes, and then we're done, and we can move on to second reading at the next meeting. Or if one person makes a motion, it doesn't pass, then somebody can make a motion on another version. And we tried to create several different versions based on what you all have shared tonight.
I like that idea.
I
To
agree
kind of
with
give
that.
you an idea of where to go.
I think this is something we need to sleep on and think about.
Yeah,
I like that
idea.
So no action tonight.
No
This is all
action
for
tonight.
discussion,
All-
but we can come back with several different versions, let you look at it. And if you
Exactly.
see anything that you feel comfortable with, then as a board member, you're invited to make a motion for that particular version.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ms. Thompson.
Absolutely, thank y'all.
Thank you, board. All right, our action items. We'll be able to go through these quite quickly. We have reviewed all of them, so we're going to begin with the first one, policy ARJED-R, student absences and excuses. The administration recommends first reading approval of this policy ARJED-R, student absences and excuses as presented. Is there a motion to move it forward?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I call for the question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The motion is carried. The administration recommends second and final reading approval of policy BDDF, voting method as presented. Is there a motion to move it forward?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I call for the question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The motion is carried. We have the policy is in effect. Policy, the administration recommends second and final reading approval of policy BDDG minutes as presented. Is there a motion to move it forward?
So moved.
Moved, and it's been second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The motion passes. The administration recommends second and final reading approval of policy BFA, Policy Development Systems as presented. Is there a motion to move it forward?
So move.
Second.
It has been second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I call for the question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The motion is carried. Personnel list.
Number 6.
Oh, number 6, sorry. Employee resignation. The administration recommends first reading approval of policy GCQ, employee resignation as presented. Is there a motion to move it forward?
So moved.
Second.
Moved, it's been second. Is there any question? Any discussion, excuse me. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
Mr. Chair, I think we may have skipped over number 4 accidentally.
Okay, sorry about that. Back to number 4. The administration recommends second and final reading approval of policy BE, school board work sessions and retreats as presented. Is there a motion to move it forward?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved, it's been seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The motion is carried. Personnel list, am I right? My eyes are jumping around today. You've had a chance to look at the personnel list. The administration recommends approval of the personnel list as presented. Is there a motion to move it forward?
So moved.
Been moved. It's been second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I call for the question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. At our last meeting, we were presented the financial audit. And tonight, the administration recommends approval of the final audit report as presented. Is there a motion to move it forward?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I call for the question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The motion is carried. It delights me to recommend this one. The administration recommends approval to the award of a South Carolina high school diploma based on Act 207 for students who have completed the requirements. Is there a motion to move this forward?
So moved.
Second.
Moved, and there's a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I call for the question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The motion is carried. Congratulations to that student. Moving forward with board superintendent comments or requests.
I just want to speak on behalf of the interventionists that were requested tonight. I just want to make it on record that I totally support that at all the school requests.
I will second that. Mr. Superintendent, Mr. Price.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Over the past 2 Fridays, we have been treated to 2 wonderful concerts made up of Georgetown County's finest musicians. The all-county chorus and all-county band students were absolutely amazing, and everyone who attended the concerts had a great experience. 2 Saturdays ago, we were able to watch some of Georgetown County's brightest 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders compete at the annual Academic Fair. Congratulations to Pleasant Hill Stream Academy, who swept the championships for small schools in both age groups, and also to Waccamaw Elementary and Intermediate, who did the same thing for the large schools division. I want to wish our basketball teams good luck in the middle school championships being held at Waccamaw Middle School this Thursday. Carvers Bay STEAM Academy and Waccamaw Middle School will be competing for the girls' championship, and the boys' semifinals are being played at this time to determine who will play for the championship on Thursday. The Junior Academic Bowl is coming up at the end of the month on February 27th, and the Senior Academic Bowl will be 2 days later on the 29th. This is a reminder that we will have a midwinter break coming up from February 19th to February 23rd, so there will be no school for students that week. And finally, I'd like to ask everyone to join us in thanking all of our school counselors this week for School Counselor Appreciation. Our counselors do so much to support our students, their families, and our schools. Their contributions are essential for continued school success. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Next, we have executive session for the purpose of legal update regarding personnel matter, legal advice regarding potential litigation, and student appeals. Is there a motion that we go into executive session?
So moved.
It's been moved. It's been seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We are now in executive session.